Welcome to NewsNation's Back Scroll, where we look back at our major news coverage on the most important topics and personalities of our time.
Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to NewsNation. April Fool's is upon us. Tomorrow, don't worry. But the joke will not be on us. Not tonight, not ever. Two ways to avoid foolery and foolishness. Don't take the bait and check for yourself. First, a new shiny bit of foolishness. Trump is open to a third term. Of course he is. Doesn't mean it can happen. It can't. Oh, but Bannon said on your show, I know what he said. He can work on whatever he wants. Don't take the bait. Why? Couple things. When you focus on that nonsense, you not only play into the misperception that Trump somehow is bigger and more powerful than all our institutions, but you take your eye off what could actually happen that is worth getting into a little bit of a fisticuffs about. Okay, for example, my growing concern that Elon Musk hates Social Security. What a wild thing to say. I agree, and I don't want to say it. I'm not a hater. Not of Musk, not of his efforts. And I don't want to add any drama to what is already surrounding the guy. But the proof just keeps mounting. I can't ignore it. Not that I needed anything more to make the case than this.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. When you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is, because of the future obligations.
I mean, look, again, I think Elon Musk is a genius. I don't know how he keeps getting things so fundamental, so wrong, unless he wants to, which means he thinks he can play you for a fool like he did Joe Rogan. And look, I didn't expect Rogan to push back on Musk any more than he did with the doctor who told him that the polio vaccine didn't really matter. But Social Security does matter. It's one of the most successful programs in the country's history. 2 out of 3 elderly people are on Social Security. They depend on it every month. 70 million of them depended on it every month. Millions of dependents, disabled. It is the height of poison privilege to look at that need and say, eh. Now, calling it a Ponzi scheme is an opinion, and Elon is entitled to it. But hoping to fool you that a zombie army of 150-year-olds are getting benefits is not an opinion. It's a lie. Then he said Social Security is a major reason for the deficit and debt. You heard it, which is factually impossible. Untrue, because it is legally impossible. Why? It's not allowed. It is a pay-as-you-go program. And now, Musk's man at DOGE handling Social Security, Antonio Gracias, claims illegal immigrants are reaping major benefits from Social Security. Here's his charge.
These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people, and minimum collection. That's what's happening. We found 1.3 million of them already on Medicaid.
It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States.
And we found people here registered to vote. In this population, yes.
And who did vote?
And we found some by sampling that actually did vote, and we have referred them to prosecution at the Homeland Security Investigation Service.
Yeah.
I have no problem with referring people who break the law, and there's no question. If someone's in this country and they're not a citizen, they can't vote in state or federal elections. Now, his name is Gracias, means thank you in Spanish, but in this case, no gracias, no thank you, because what you just heard is not just a simple difference of opinion. It is not kind of true, kind of not. No, it is a gross misinterpretation developed to feed a false narrative, which, in fairness to Gracias, he was nodding his head, but it was Musk giving his BS about the great replacement theory. There is, and now remember, check for yourself. There is no max inclusion or minimum collection or max benefit setting or button at Social Security. And I'm not nitpicking. This isn't parsing words. It's not semantics. It's not a distinction without a difference, okay? It's just not how Social Security works. The program uses a complex index and algorithm to figure out benefits based on our lifetime of earnings, okay? Every year, illegal immigrants do contribute to Social Security, over $20 billion. But did you know that they receive almost no benefits back? Why? Because they have to pay in to work, okay? Now, I see this as a scam, okay, of them, but also of who benefits from illegal employment in this country. The employers, right? They get these people at sub-market wages. You know, they have a lot to do with organizing people to come up illegally. Did you know that? And E-Verify or whatever other mechanism. How many cases can you think of an employer getting busted the way we demonize the people coming here for the jobs? Often at their urging, often at their expense. Why? Because money wins. Musk isn't going to target the deep pockets. Those are his people, right? But the illegal immigrants, let's play. Now, do illegal immigrants get benefits? Yes. Who? Which? How many? Those who claim asylum can apply for work authorization while they await their court date. And if DHS grants them a work authorization, they get a Social Security number. Why? They're making them citizens. No, they're tracking work history so they can pay taxes. And they wind up paying in, and a lot of them don't stay or don't collect or aren't here long enough, so we get the benefit of that in the payroll tax. Musk's guy is right. 1 million plus non-citizens are on taxpayer-funded health insurance. Not the same thing as Social Security, but it doesn't matter. That's because the law allows asylum seekers to qualify for Medicaid, okay? Now, more states have been offering health insurance to illegal immigrants. You don't have to like the policy. It is a political choice. Now, I personally, as a matter of opinion, believe there is something to the idea that America represents a refuge for the huddled masses. I believe the words of the new Colossus that are at the foot of the Statue of Liberty. I don't dismiss them the way Stephen Miller does. I believe in that message. It's what led my family here just a couple of generations ago, that promise, okay? But you don't have to like it, and you don't have to want to continue the policy. That's a political choice. But it's also a choice to twist the reality of the program to fool people into thinking there is gross abuse, because there is not. It is what I just explained to you. And it's not about some great replacement theory, okay? That's a boogeyman, and Musk must know better. He's a genius. When you look at voting, Democrats wanted a porous border so they could have an infusion of voters who would reward their leniency with party loyalty. Look, you can believe it. There's just no proof of the great replacement theory. And by the way, check out Latino populations. I mean, there are a lot of different people who come illegally into the country, but let's look at that population. A lot of them don't break left, okay? They're conservative, religious, value-oriented in a way that often they wouldn't cotton to the Democratic Party, in my opinion, but works well for the pod people on the right. But to say that they vote in big numbers is baloney. Now, what they didn't tell you there is some localities allow illegal entrants to vote. Very, very few, but some do. I wonder if that's who they found. No state or federal voting is allowed for illegal immigrants, and it doesn't happen. How do I know? Same way you can. Same way Musk and Mr. Gracias certainly should. You just Google the question, and what's going to pop up? 2016, the Brennan Center for Justice, a real place, analyzed 24 million votes and found just 30 were suspected to be illegal immigrants. That's 0.001% of all votes cast. Let's put aside the fact of why would you want to expose yourself if you're here illegally and go vote when they could catch you? Why would you do that? But putting away the nonsense of the logic, that's the numbers. And if you apply that number to 2024, it means you had 150 illegal immigrants would have voted in the 2024 election. That's our concern? Listen, Elon Musk is a genius. And that's what bothers me. I love the idea of bringing in better minds from the private sector to help make government more efficient, smarter, innovative, to help more people in more ways. But what's really troubling is not his antics or his buzzsaw. I don't care about any of this. You know, let him do him. As long as Trump is fine with it, fine. Put on your cheese hat. Let's see what it does in Wisconsin. It's the BS that he has to know is not true. If what I just called out and corrected were coming from some pod guy or a fool on Twitter, I'd ignore it. But he's so smart and has been invested with so much and has all these geniuses working for the government. And yet he echoes BS and expects you to be fooled by it. He must really think we are fools and that you will be okay with them cutting a fundamental program to America's social fabric. And it's even more frustrating to me when the fix for Social Security is so obvious and right in front of everybody's face and always has been. Raise the cap on taxed income. It's at $174,000 right now. This isn't a novel idea. It's not unconstitutional or illegal. We do it for Medicare. Nobody ever gripes about it. You never hear concerns about that program the way you do with Social Security. Why? It's a boogeyman like the border was and is. And if you want to set off, do an offset for tax benefits for people who don't need Social Security but pay in over $174,000 to $500,000, whatever limit you want to make it, great. Build that in. This isn't complicated. See, for me, just like with immigration, the problem works better for these two poison parties to blame each other and who loves and who doesn't and who cares and who doesn't than actually doing a damn thing to fix it. Because the fix is pretty damn easy. So don't be fooled. Know the facts. Raise Musk. Bill, what do you make of, there are two narratives. One is the one I offered, which is Musk is making trouble for the administration and they're going to Fauci him. The other one is, no, Tesla's taken a beating. He's done all he can. He's got to get back to what he does. He's helped enough. What do you think the reality is about why Musk may be getting pushed or whether he's walking away?
Well, as I said very early on, Musk is a short timer. It's just too hot. You just can't have a guy that hot. And he did a good job exposing the government waste, bringing it back onto page one. But now the technicians should take over. You don't need Elon to go out and sell it. It's sold. And most Americans know that we're being fleeced, the taxpayers being fleeced. So he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, and I think he'll remain a Trump advisor, but I do think he'll go back to the private sector.
He did a terrible job in Wisconsin. He did a terrible job in Wisconsin.
No, it had nothing to do with it.
He tried to buy the votes. He tried to buy the votes of the people of Wisconsin. I know that abortion was a very, very big issue, but Musk made the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race a seminal race. He said it was historic. He said it was basically the end of history. This was the end of of an era. It's going to be now. It's going to be the Trump euphoria, Trump Valhalla. And they lost the race. He spent $25 million on a judge election. I mean, if people in Wisconsin looked at that and they said it stunk. He's trying to buy. You can't buy love. You can't buy my vote. And I think that whether he stays or not, I think that he's the greatest.
All right. Well, I'm glad you love him.
I think that he's wonderful.
If Elon Musk had anything to do with the loss in Wisconsin, it would have shown up on the exit polling. It's very simple. I'm a fact-based guy. I don't know this guy who lost. So today, I put my investigators on it. It wasn't hard to get the exit polling information, and it came back too conservative, way too strident on abortion. Women broke big for the Democrat.
They had the race knotted up 2 weeks ago when Musk made the big push. They lost by 9.
Well, the Democrats made a big push at the same time by demonizing this Republican candidate, who wasn't a good candidate, by the way, as Attila. Here's Attila. You're going to take all your rights away. So it was Musk versus Attila.
You know, there was a good lesson for Democrats in this. One is the one you're talking about right now. Geraldo, the other one was you got to be on the right side of the 80-20s. I've lost a lot of debates about voter ID because I understand the disenfranchisement arguments, but I got to tell you, they're not compelling to the majority. Even though when you look at who doesn't have driver's licenses and why they don't have them and who's going to wind up voting less, you get why Democrats don't like those laws, but they're an 80-20 issue. Everybody's like, you need ID for everything. Wisconsin, the Democrat wins, but so does the ballot initiative for voter ID. What's the message in that for Democrats?
The message is that you don't go freaky on the voters who are innately conservative, even if they are liberal and woke. There's a conservative aspect to the American personality. Change is great, but it's not too much change. You know, transsexual, this, that. I think that right now, as things stand, Musk has an opportunity still to be a seminal figure, to be a historic figure, to really having this unique co-presidency he has with Donald Trump, the opportunity to change things that needed changing. But the way they're doing it, I just wish they had a more measured tempo. They took on one issue at a time to crowd the futures market with this tariff as if it was, a Liberation Day. It was absurd.
I think you're right about stick with the people, and I think Bill is right that Musk has done what he can do, and he's going to exit stage left. So must we, gentlemen. I appreciate you being with me. Geraldo, you missed a good one with me and Bill and Stephen A. on Sunday. You would have loved it. Bill was great. Crowd. Bill was great. They were his people there. They loved him in Westbury, Long Island. But we had a good time, and the crowd loved it. You would have loved it. Bill, thanks for making it happen. It's great to have you both. Geraldo, I'm glad you're back. Look at me there. Look at me. I look like I was his chauffeur driver. That's what most people thought I was. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Fellas, I'll talk to you soon. You never know with these mega billionaires and how they measure their money and what's private and what's public, but Elon Musk is believed to be perhaps the world's richest man. His net worth now is estimated at above $400 billion. After co-founding and then selling PayPal, he set his sights to the stars by founding the space rocket company SpaceX. He has ambitions to get to Mars. All right, now SpaceX accounts for 90% of all rockets that he builds and launches reusable rockets now. And of course, we know about his work at Tesla, just changed the car market, right? Then he purchased Twitter. Then he teamed up with Trump and Republicans and to help them win the 2024 election. And he absolutely had a big impact, okay? So now he's a big player. And he is also a constant hub of controversy. But what criticism is actually deserved? Now, most recently, you know what's being said about him, that he made a gesture when he was up on stage that people are saying was a Nazi salute. Now, I didn't see it that way because he explained it as I send my heart out to you. That has not been satisfying to people who want to believe something else. Who would know the answer? I get criticized that I don't know what's in his head and his heart. Okay, I bet his father does, the man who made him. Errol Musk joins us now. Errol, thank you for taking the opportunity.
No, it's a pleasure.
And I know it's in the very early morning for you in South Africa, so thank you. Thank you for making the accommodation. What do you make, sir, of the suggestion that your son was making a Nazi salute up on stage?
It's absolute nonsense. Absolute rubbish. Rubbish. It's a universal salute, or as he said, throwing his heart out, I suppose. Yes, no, it's a universal thing for thousands of years. So that's rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
What do you want to explain to people about how your son thinks in terms of helping them understand how to judge a behavior like that?
Well, I mean, What behavior? The behavior was fine. I can't see anything wrong with that behavior. I've seen since then a number of photographs of Obama and OAC, AOC, and so on using the same gesture. Nobody's worried about it when they make that sort of gesture. In fact, quite differently, in fact. So, you know, again, it's just rubbish. I don't think it's a talking point. It's nonsense. You know, it's just utter nonsense.
Good. Then let's move on.
Yeah.
I saw you talking about the maternal side of the family and concerns that you had and affiliations that they had. What do you want people to know? But specifically, do you ascribe any of the lineage on the maternal side to your son, that he's like his maternal grandfather?
No.
Or anybody on that side of the family?
No, not at all. The maternal grandfather passed away when Elon was 1 year old. So that, you know, that's crazy. The other thing is that, you know, my sons grew up with me, and I was twice a candidate for parliament in South Africa for the party that wanted to abolish apartheid. So rather focus on their father, who they grew up with and spent their life with, not with their mother. They grew up with me after we were divorced, you know, and with me, they helped me in elections, you know, as helpers for a party that was opposed to apartheid. And I was a candidate for that, for which I was spat on, screamed on, threatened with death, and so forth, you know.
So Elon saw all that too. You know, I saw an interview with him where he showed a dog tag, and he said, this was given to me by some of the parents of the hostages stolen from Israel that are still in Gaza, and I said I'd wear it until they're all home. To me, that was the end of the discussion about whether or not he had any anti-Semitic sympathies. He's wearing a dog tag to commemorate the hostages. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. But, you know, my own mother's grandfather was Jewish. So from our point of view, we're sort of a little bit connected to the Jewish community. And no, we view the Jewish people as very capable people, you know. And that's just nonsense. You know, it's just nonsense. I mean, he's doing the nice thing there. I think there's two sides to the story in Israel. I mean, the Palestinians or the Arab Palestinians need their case to be looked at as well. So it's not just about supporting the one side or the other, you know.
Elon Musk taking the stage for nearly 2 hours, throwing his support behind the conservative candidate in the state's hotly contested Supreme Court race. Let's get right out to NewsNation's Mills Hayes, who is live on the ground for us at that rally. It cleared out fast. Mills, talk to us about the major moments tonight.
Hi, Natasha. It definitely did clear out fast, and we actually did speak with a staffer for Elon Musk's American Political Action Committee, and they said that there were about 1,800 people in this room tonight, and Elon Musk himself, he took questions for over an hour, and he talked about a lot of different topics. He talked about the Department of Government Efficiency, he talked about AI, he talked about depopulation, he talked about Social Security. It was a wide-ranging conversation. He even made a note about that there was a lot of different questions that he was getting, but he was here in Wisconsin to rally for the conservative candidate for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, who is Brad Schimmel. And he says that this election is so important, not only for the country, but for the world. And he did give away those $1 million checks. And remember, this comes after just a couple of hours ago, the Wisconsin Supreme Court did deny, they voted unanimously to deny the Attorney General, Josh Kaul's request to stop Musk from giving away this money. He argues that this is illegal and against state law. However, Musk was allowed to do this. Two lower courts denied bringing it up, and now the Supreme Court has weighed in here in Wisconsin as well. But he did give those checks out, and he says that it's for one reason. Take a listen.
The reason for the checks is that it's really just to get attention. It's like we need to get attention, and it's somewhat inevitably when I do these things. The sort of it causes the legacy media to kind of lose their minds, and then they'll run it on every news channel, And I'm like, I couldn't pay them it would cost like 10 times more, or, you know, to get the kind of coverage that we get. So.
And Musk also did face two protesters. There was one at the beginning of the event when he started talking about how they were going through waste and fraud in the government. Someone yelled out, "Like your company," because remember, his company SpaceX has billions of dollars worth of contracts with the federal government. That protester was then kicked out, and then another person as well. But Musk, he says that he is concerned about these protests on the left, and he is concerned about the way that this hatred for him is spreading. Natasha?
Appreciate it, and appreciate you staying late there for us tonight. Mills Hayes, live on the ground in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Thank you so much.
All right, the first joint interview since Trump took office 30 days ago, the president and billionaire Elon Musk discussing their wide-sweeping efforts to slash spending and shrink the size of our federal workforce. The interview was the latest display of Trump putting Musk in the spotlight. Last week, the Tesla CEO made an Oval Office appearance where he fielded several questions from reporters. Libby Dean is live for us in Washington with more on this. Libby, what are some of the takeaways so far from this big, unconventional interview between the president and Musk?
Hey, Marnie, yeah, unconventional to say the least here. A lot of takeaways, but what stood out to me was this was a first for a sitting president to really sit down for a joint interview with one of his advisors. Of course, that advisor being Elon Musk, the two sitting side by side for this interview that aired late last night. What they did during that interview is line out how they plan to work together to deliver on their vision of reshaping the federal government, something that we continue to hear about ever since since Trump returned to the Oval and Elon Musk joined him there. Now, specifically, we heard in this interview how Musk plans to be the enforcer here, how he plans to enforce the sweeping executive orders that we continue to see from the executive office from President Trump. Nearly every day he signs these new executive orders. Musk saying he wants to deliver on those. Let's listen.
Obviously, people do not want their tax dollars going to fund high-end hotels for illegals, and yet they were still doing that even as late as last week. And so, you know, we went in there and we're like, this is in violation of the presidential executive order. It needs to stop. So what we're doing here is one of the biggest functions of the DOGE team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out.
Making sure that they're carried out. That's what Musk lined out in that interview. Now, Trump also said in that interview that he thinks Musk will be able to deliver on $1 trillion of cuts to the federal government. Now, those big dollars actually would be delivered on by the Department of Government Efficiency, who had a win in court yesterday when a federal judge in Washington actually declined the request by 14 state attorneys general to temporarily bar Elon Musk and his associates at DOGE from accessing data at 7 federal agencies. So that is something they have now, and we've seen this back and forth in the courts, Marnie, between DOGE, attorneys general, as well as others who have now sued over their access to all of these federal agencies.
Musk's DOGE has vast oversight of hiring decisions across all federal agencies, prompting concerns about potential conflicts of interest. And he's setting the stage to change important programs like Social Security and Medicaid. But is Musk's agenda overshadowing Republicans' priorities? Joining me now is Sean Spicer, who was White House press secretary during the first Trump administration. Sean, good morning to you as always. Thanks for hopping on.
Good morning, Marky. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Let me just start with Musk's recent comments that he made on Social Security. I know you know what I'm about to play here, calling it a Ponzi scheme on the Joe Rogan Experience. Take a quick listen for our audience at home.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so, well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately, but the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career.
Yeah, not much of an explanation there, but a signal that maybe major changes are coming. Sean, does it seem like the White House is trying to keep up with Musk rather than set the agenda for he and DOGE?
Yeah, there's a few things there. Number one, Marky, I think that there's no one, including myself, that recognizes you're always keeping up with President Trump. I mean, I think Elon's keeping up with him. And you see sometimes that back and forth on social media where he's like, yes, Mr. President, I'll get you there. Second, on Social Security, I think those are clearly Elon Musk's comments and thoughts. And I mean, without getting into it, I got a D in economics in college, but I can tell you that Social Security is not the best deal for retirees. It was never meant to be a retirement program. It was meant to be supplemental, and it doesn't actually. That we could do a lot more, is to put it mildly, in terms of helping people with a guarantee for their retirement. But that aside, this gets back to the bottom line, which is President Trump has made it clear since he first ran for president in 2015 that he doesn't want to touch Social Security, minus maybe weeding out fraud, waste, abuse, and inefficiency. So that's. I mean, I took that clearly as Elon Musk's personal view, and I think any clued-in Americans, like I said, who have a D or higher in economics, know that Social Security is not the best deal we could be giving our retirees, but that's an aside.
Yeah, I can't believe you made a D in anything, Sean Spicer. I'm shocked.
Well, that's why I switched to government, Marky. I switched to government.
That's good stuff. Hey, you know, he's also showing support for the idea of the U.S. withdrawing from NATO. I mean, given his influential position, does his endorsement reflect any sort of shift in official foreign policy?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Look, at the end of the day, President Trump's the one who leads this. Elon Musk knows that. He's obviously, entitled, like every American, to share his views. I think it does cause a little confusion once in a while because, like anyone serving in the government, you serve the president of the United States. But Elon Musk is sort of, when you become the richest man in the world, you get a little leeway.
Yeah, I guess that's accurate. Hey, Robert just teed us up, for tonight, the joint address to Congress. You think it's a good idea for Elon Musk to be in that crowd tonight? I know that Democrats have invited several of the fired federal workers to be in that crowd too. Do you like that he'll also be in that same room this evening?
Well, look, we're talking about DOGE. We're talking about federal workers. We're talking about the debt and the deficit. It would kind of be obvious if he wasn't there. The president's top staffers, the cabinet, all goes. So to not be there, I think, would be a little weird, to kind of almost like you're hiding him. And I think the president, as you saw in the cabinet meeting the other day, is very proud. I think the one thing that's missing is, you led this segment off with kind of our Republicans getting tired. As a conservative, as a Republican, lifelong, I'm proud of what's happening because we've talked for decades about addressing the debt and the deficit, wasteful and duplicative spending in government for decades, and gotten merely lip service. It's finally happening. So for conservatives that have argued for this kind of review for decades, to see it actually happening is a breath of fresh air, and I think the president's very proud of that.
And lastly, just before I let you go, Sean, if you were still, press secretary, if you were there advising the president today before he heads in to that address tonight, how would you advise him? What tone do you hope he strikes tonight for the American people who are tuning in to watch?
If you look at his past speeches, he always rises to the occasion. I was there and helped with the first joint address that he gave. He knows how to rise to the occasion. He knows how to sell his agenda better than anyone. If you look at President Trump's history, he's a marketer among the best in the world. So tonight, I expect him to really rise to that occasion, give a great speech, talk about the accomplishments of the past 42 days, and really sell the American people on a dream and aspirations going forward.
Are we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you sorry. I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes.
Elon Musk, the world's richest man, now sitting adjacent to the world's most powerful man. And the more we know about Musk as a businessman, a leader, an entrepreneur, a boss, what makes him tick, the more we will likely know about the direction of our country. How he likes to run his businesses, Tesla, SpaceX, and X, will likely give us an idea on how he'll work with President Trump and shape the vision for the country, and how he works with others. Musk famously told his first wife, Justine, that if she were one of his employees, he would, quote, fire her. And for more on Musk the man, the boss, the entrepreneur, Dennis Neal joining us now, former senior editor at the Wall Street Journal, managing editor of Forbes, host of the What's Bugging Me podcast, and author of The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. Dennis, appreciate you coming on. And let's jump right in. You wrote in your biography, quote, A sizable portion of the large brain and expansive mind of Elon Musk truly believes we are living inside a super real virtual simulation, mere characters in someone else's video game. Do you mean this literally? Does Elon literally think this is all a simulation?
It's great to see you, Natasha, and thanks for having me on to talk about my brand new book. Was my timing great or what? Here's the weird thing. I think it started out as a thought experiment and debate and talking about it so much that he and his brother had to ban any further conversations about it whenever they were in a hot tub, okay? And then he began to believe it more. And I think it's kind of being playful, but it also frees him to take huge risk that no other business executive would take, because he thinks at some point, what the heck, this could all be a game anyway. And Natasha, the weird thing is that when I started to research it, I interviewed a physicist who's found some evidence he thinks that might support the idea. I began to think it was more and more plausible. And I can give you just one quick example. Is that all right?
Sure.
All right, so the universe is 13.8 billion years old. That means there are almost 1.4 million time spans of 10,000 years in existence. Now, Elon points out that from 1970 to now, we went from Pong to incredibly realistic virtual reality down inside, and it looks so real. He said, so now if you think 10,000 years from now, it could be so good, this simulation, that you don't even know it. Now, do you really think we've gone 1.4 million spans of 10,000 years without it happening yet?
And AI throws a wrench into everything. I mean, 10,000 years. How about like 10 years or 10 months from now? Let me ask you, what is one thing about Musk that most of the public doesn't know that is key to understanding who he is?
I think he really wants to be loved. And I think he is really, truly craving the approval of the masses, which is why the mission he's undertaken is so extraordinary, because you're guaranteed that half of the audience out there might bitterly resent you and dislike you. And that's happening. But I think he believes he can win them over and show them that he means well. I mean, I'm shocked at the vitriol that the Democrats are throwing at this guy. They love immigrants, but for Elon Musk, they're now saying that he's a South African, that he's an oligarch, that he doesn't understand democracy, that his grandparents might have been Nazis, that he might be a Nazi. Yet the guy is doing amazing things on so many fronts. We've never seen anyone like it. Usually, Steve Jobs, brilliant, but at one thing, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, but this guy, so many different things. And I read a tweet, because people who follow him kind of follow this simulation stuff, Natasha, and someone said, Elon must be going through the simulation for the 4th time, because he's getting it right every day.
He's getting it right. You know, you've said...
I lost my FB. Hang on here.
You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You know, you've said that Elon has replaced Trump as public enemy #1 for Dems, for the media. Explain what you mean by that. And you say that we would be surprised that he's actually fairly tender-hearted. He really cares.
He truly does. And this idea that Trump suddenly no longer is the evil bad man, it's all about Elon Musk. They've just totally gone over to Elon, and it's because he's being so effective. And he is uncovering wasteful spending, ridiculous spending, kind of what's called round tripping. Some of the money ends up coming back here to political groups, et cetera. And people are shocked and stunned in Washington. And I think he's having a ball. You know, I have 11 lessons of Elon in my book, and I really think they could help all of us build a better life or feel better about the life we have. And he's at DOGE right now, Natasha. He's going after 2 lessons. Lesson 3, hey, the highest nail gets pounded down first. He straps on a helmet. Lesson 4 is tease your critics and torture your enemies. And man, he's having a ball right now.
Yeah, and very quickly, you know, we just spoke with his father, Errol. With all the research that you've done on the impact that this father-son relationship has had on Elon, I want to get your take on the conversation we just had.
Okay, I'll be, unfortunately, I got to point out, you check online, and the most recent time that they saw each other was 2016. Let's understand that the father also ended up having a romantic relationship with a stepdaughter that was only 4 years old when he met the mother. Let's also understand that a friend tells me, because he watched it happen, Elon Musk fired his father when he had tried to have a reconciliation and bring him into the business after the father expressed openly racist things about a black employee he saw working there. And Elon fired him right then. So their relationship still is not good. I can understand why the father is proud of him now, but I also understand how an absent father, a tough father, sometimes is far more motivating for someone than a father who was there for you all the time and gentle and wonderful and loved you. My father was hit by a car and killed on my 14th birthday, and that had a far bigger impact on me, I think, than if he'd lived the entire time and we're alive now.
Dennis, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so sorry that happened. And I think to your point, how many great men, Steve Jobs among them, can point to adversity early on in their life, really fueling and giving them that drive, that jet fuel for the rest of their lives. Dennis Neal, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a glorious evening.
Thank you. Well, 2 Democratic senators are raising concerns over Elon Musk's security clearance after learning about phone calls with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The tech billionaire had 6 companies. He holds government contracts. Musk was recently tapped by Trump to co-lead the Department of Government Efficiency. And NewsNation's Mills Hayes has details on why these 2 Democrats are asking the Department of Justice and the Pentagon to launch this investigation into Musk. Mills.
Hey, Natasha. Well, 2 Democratic senators are calling for an investigation into Elon Musk's involvement in SpaceX's federal contracts. Now, this comes after reports that the tech billionaire has been in regular contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The head of the Senate Armed Services Committee expressed concerns over Elon Musk's security clearance given his relationship with Russia, saying it, quote, poses serious questions about his reliability as a government contract and clearance holder. In a letter on Friday, Senators Jeanne Shaheen and Jack Reed called for an investigation into Elon Musk's SpaceX contracts and his security clearance. After the Wall Street Journal reported that Musk has been in regular contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin since 2022, the lawmakers wrote Russia's ambition in the space domain pose a direct threat to U.S. national security. Senator Shaheen saying on X, quote, it's alarming that a beneficiary of billions of dollars in government contracts and sensitive military operations has had an open line to a top U.S. adversary. And this investigation into Elon Musk's involvement in the U.S. government contracts with SpaceX is the goal for the senators. This letter comes just days after President-elect Trump picked Musk, the world's richest person and tech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, to run the Department of Government Efficiency. In this role, Musk could be working with government agencies that hold contracts with his companies SpaceX and Tesla. Natasha?
That tonight. Thank you so much.
Elon Musk may be the most influential person in America, not just the richest, but the most powerful. A new book is out today called Character Limit: How Elon Musk Destroyed Twitter. And the timing is certainly good for the authors because this week Musk is back in the news in hot water again over something he posted to his platform. This one after a second would-be assassin targeted Donald Trump this past weekend. Musk posted and later deleted what he says was a bad joke. After a user asked why they wanted to kill Donald Trump, Musk shared it and wrote, and no one is even trying to assassinate Biden Kamala, with a thinking emoji at the end. He later said it was taken out of context. Musk has posted phony news articles and retweeted controversial content. Just since the start of August, he's had to delete at least 3 viral tweets completely from his timeline. As the authors of the new book put it, he's gambled his reputation and billions of dollars on the haphazard acquisition of his favorite toy. Join us now, the authors of Character Limit: How Elon Musk Destroyed Twitter, Ryan Mack and Kate Conger. Thank you both for coming on. Appreciate it. Kate, let me start with you. Why do you think he bought it?
I think he was really interested in Twitter as a user. He really enjoyed being on the platform. And he wanted to influence the content moderation decisions that were being made there. So as he became more and more invested in the platform as a user, he just wanted to take control of it for himself.
But Ryan, does he care that it's lost billions in value?
Hopefully he cares. I mean, again, this is someone worth more than $250 billion.
Right.
A hit like that isn't going to affect him as much as it would you or me, for example.
Well, it would affect me quite a bit if I had those billions, but I don't. Yeah.
Sure, but it's not a good thing that that his interests, his time is being taken away by Twitter. I mean, he's paying, for example, more than $1 billion a year in interest payments alone to supplement this company and the loss of revenue. I mean, those are hits for anyone. So it's kind of a mess for him right now.
you basically said that, and this is from your book, that it's number 6, Twitter's had a massive drop in revenue due to activist groups pressuring advertisers, even though nothing has changed with content moderation, and we did everything we could to appease the activists. This is from Elon Musk. Extremely messed up. They're trying to destroy free speech in America. He's been going after, Kate, the advertisers now. I can't believe that that's a particularly effective way to get the advertisers to change what they're doing. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll get scared.
Yeah, and Musk has really famously eschewed advertising in the past. He's never advertised for Tesla, and it's not an industry that he particularly enjoys or relates to. And so coming into Twitter and having to run an advertising business is a bit foreign to him. And he's really alienated advertisers with some of his recent attacks, telling them not to spend on the platform, and then suing really influential advertising industry groups that help advertisers organize.
And this is one of the fake videos that he shared. This is a fake video of Kamala Harris that Musk retweeted. This is number 8. This is not real, but he did send it out. Let's watch.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet.
Now, was this sent out as a joke? I mean, you know, you can say it's funny, right, if you take it as a joke, right? But was it sent out as a joke, Ryan? And I guess that's my question is, it seems that he's sending a lot of things out, letting them sit for a bit, right? And then saying, oh, you know, I'm going to delete that. I guess I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I think he would argue it's a joke. I mean, the thing is, there is a rule that currently exists at X against manipulated media. You know, if any other user were to post that video, they could be hit with a violation of X's rules. It's pretty clear that there's a different set of rules that apply to the owner of the platform, someone that has, you know, nearly 200 million followers, and he simply doesn't care. He has done this multiple times. You know, everything seems to be a joke to him.
But I think that's the point, Kate, is that it seems he did kind of buy this as a toy. He's got enough money that if he loses, I don't know, 10, 20 billion on Twitter, that's okay with him. He wants to be part of the conversation in his particular way.
Yeah, he said about the acquisition that he does not view it as a moneymaker. It's something that is more ideological for him. But he really loves the platform. And, you know, you see it in the way he almost thinks in Twitter memes. For instance, when he acquired the company and walked in with a sink, he's referencing a tweet that a lot of people post with serious news and then say, let that sink in. So you see how he's always referencing memes from Twitter in his real life. And he's really enmeshed and embedded with the platform.
And Chris Cuomo is here. I guess this is where America is right now. You can't even go to a wedding and have civil conversation with people, even in Saint-Tropez.
Or it's about Larry David. And Larry David is, I guess, I don't know him, but I know people who know him well. He is one of the guys who went after Dershowitz on the Vineyard. And so I think this is as much about him as it is him being, you know, a metaphor for the rest of us. You know, sometimes I think you just call out somebody who goes too far and let's just keep it on him. You know what I mean? I'll tell you what's bothering me. Larry David wants to go at Elon Musk. That's fine. My problem is when people choose to be outraged and over what? And, you know, that's the big part of our show tonight, is I can't believe there's not outrage over what we're covering tonight, which is this latest death from fentanyl, which was a kid in a daycare center. It is emblematic of our greatest failure.
The story in the Bronx is crazy in terms of that, and they were running literally the daycare was a front for the drug thing. I know you, Bill O'Reilly's fired up about that. We want to see that. But I want to get back to this whole concept with Elon Musk, because Elon Musk has become public enemy #1 on the left, which is funny because he was the champion of the left with the guy with the electric cars and everything else. He's putting rockets into space. He's made a lot of retirees and anybody who has a 401k, a lot of money with Tesla stock because of how many people own it through the S&P 500. why is he such a boogeyman now?
Because the culture wars are very capricious. And what plays to advantage shifts very quickly and often arbitrarily. And when he was doing what they liked, he's great. And when they're doing what he doesn't like, he's the devil. And to help people, Elon Musk likes to court controversy. I don't know that it works for Twitter or X or whatever he's calling it now, but he has certainly put himself where it seems he wants to be, which is often in the crosshairs. What it will do for him, we'll see.
Yeah, I guess he
like my answer.
I don't know if I don't like your answer. What I just can't figure out is the level of vitriol against him, and if it's not more personal, if there's something about him now that kind of offends the liberal sensibilities because they don't feel like they control him anymore. He's now sort of broken away and cast off the chains.
Don't overthink it. When you're talking about partisans, especially when you start playing to the fringes, most of this outrage is manufactured for advantage. It's feigned outrage, and it fades into the next so quickly. There's nothing sustained about it. This is not about principle. It's not about ideas. It's not about philosophy. It's about practicality in the moment. That's all.
It feels, though, that somehow Elon Musk occupies a large space in the mind of the left, because for so long they controlled Twitter. Now he does, and they don't like that. It's almost personal now. I hear you. I hear you that there is this idea of sort of feigned outrage, and everybody plays the game. And I know, look, that's one of the things I love about your show, that you talk about the game and you expose the game. I wonder if Elon Musk isn't the game anymore. If it's actually that he's kind of offended, that there's something about it now, about him, that now personally gets it at people.
Well, that's the genius of the game, is that it's become personal. See, that's the genius. Once you start taking it out of the world of ideas and of solutions and of actions and make it just about feelings, boy, oh boy, is that an easier state of play. Imagine if you and I could just do our job on the basis of playing on emotions. I want to show you a picture that's going to make you happy. Now I'm going to show you a picture that's going to make you sad. That's much easier than trying to deal with the world of ideas and rationales and solutions. That is low percentage ball. And our politics has become all about what's easy. And it's easy to hate and to demonize and to target. It's just that Elon Musk is helping him out because he likes the energy.
Yeah, well, he feeds into it. He enjoys it, clearly. I was going to say, you had a happy picture, sad picture. I'll give you one more picture, which is angry. And look, the story, the fentanyl story you're going to cover is going to make a lot of people angry, and rightfully so. We'll see you. Chris, I'm off Thursday, Friday. I'm going to see you on Monday. I'll miss our conversations.